38.25 meters of 2.34% copper equivalent, 32.17 meters of 3.15 grams per ton gold, and 45.5 meters of 0.96 copper. It's a pretty good way to start a program. Good afternoon, everyone. Warwick Smith and Eric Saderholm from American Pacific Mining Corp. coming today to discuss the Madison drill results that we've just released. Very happy to have the first 3 drill holes out with 4 more to follow, and incredibly pleased with what we've seen from the drilling so far. I'll share a screen here so I can walk you through a quick presentation. Let's start here. For those of you who don't know the Madison project, this is the project location. You can see the big red star here in Montana. Right by Golden Sunlight, that was about a 2.5 million ounce deposit with numerous deposits around us. Eric, why don't you talk a bit about the geologic setting and what you like here when you're out looking at Madison?
Well, of course, the first thing that jumps out is the grades that are within the skarns, but also the neighboring deposits, which are all porphyry related. So it's in a very large porphyry belt. It's called the Great Falls Porphyry System. It runs from Idaho all the way to Saskatchewan. So there's a lot of potential there. You're in the right area. You're in elephant country, and that's what I really like about Madison. Plus, the grades that we have encountered this year in our drilling are further increasing the size of the deposit and certainly vectoring us towards a phase 2 drilling program.
So here we are. Here's the first couple of holes that we're releasing. 38.25 meters of 1.28% copper and 1.22 grams per ton gold. So that's 38.25 meters of 2.34% copper equivalent. Fantastic hole right off the top. And that includes 2.08% copper and 2.4 grams per ton gold over 7.86 meters. Follow that up with 32.71 meters of 3.15 grams per ton gold, including 7.32 meters of 9.9 grams per ton gold. There's some of that high grade that we see consistently throughout this project. Match that in the same hole with 45.45 meters of 0.96% copper, including 16 meters of 2.02% copper. And you've got another fantastic hole there as well. Hole 1, 1.04 grams over 17 meters, broader interval there of 32 meters of 0.76 grams per ton gold. But those first 2 holes are pretty exceptional. Eric, why don't you talk a bit about those, their location, and how it moves towards more drilling in this project?
Well, we were targeting the western extent of known copper mineralization in an area that hadn't seen much drilling at all. So we did extend that. Having the grades maintain themselves moving out to the west is very encouraging. We certainly didn't drill any dust or holes out there. So we've used the mapping and incorporated a lot of data into these models that is really going to help us vector towards our phase 2. We already have a phase 2 planned, but we obviously will adjust it based upon the results of the last 4 holes. What this really shows is the district is starting to open up. And what I've told people many times is that a lot of people have come in here, a lot of groups, and they've started this project, but they've never completed it. They didn't put all the data in. They didn't understand the district like I think we are. We have a very tight, very good, well-talented team that's coming in and assessing this on the heels of others that have worked there. And we're seeing a lot of things open up in this district.
Yeah, before I jump into the different zones, I think that is one thing that is worth mentioning, particularly on this drill campaign. We put together a pretty impressive team to wrap around this in terms of yourself, then bringing in Zach Hibden, bringing in Trevor Hawkins. We had Peter Mercer down helping with us, and then we had Ben Connor, and we also had Ben Hinkle as well from Rangefront on the 3D modeling side. Everyone has got sort of a unique skill set, and everyone was sort of deployed out to pull this together. Most importantly, to come out of this with a real model of what the district area can be. A lot of the drilling is focused on Madison, but there is an awful lot of targets here, and we're going to show there's kind of a 3-kilometer strike length that really hasn't been looked at before. In terms of bringing it all together, there's good high-grade gold hits all along this 3 kilometer strike length. Eric, I won't steal your thunder. I'll pass that to you, but no one's really chased up after that properly. What I'll start with is when you look at the drilling that we did now, and you look at this high-grade gold zone, which is near the surface. So you've got 21.4 meters of 6.4 grams here. And then you've got our 32 meters of 3 grams, 3.15 grams gold here, including 7 meters of 9.9. This is starting at about 25 meters from surface, and extends across about 50 meters or so. When you start looking down here further, you've got 100 plus meters of this gold copper corridor, which is open at the base. So that's exciting to see as well. We're getting good size on these targets as we go drilling into them. Eric, I'll pass to this Golden Highway piece that we've started talking about. I've just mentioned it, but maybe you can talk to it for a few minutes as well.
Okay, well, this is an interesting revelation, really, from our surface mapping and our subsurface mapping, which was never incorporated into a model, which kind of amazes me a bit. There was some decent mapping done underground, and it was never incorporated into a 3D model space. So we now see this large fault, which is definitely controlling some high grades up to 146 grams per ton historically. And it just was not understood whatsoever, and certainly wasn't drilled. So phase 2 will definitely address the length of this and the grades that can carry. It looks really good. It's very exciting. It moves up towards a known gold deposit called the Green Campbell up the hill. And we never thought they linked up, but now the evidence is starting to show that these do link up quite nicely. So we have a lot to go out and explore and go out and drill and test.
Eric, one of the things that you mentioned to me, and we didn't talk about this before, so I hope I'm not putting you on the spot, but you had talked a lot about, some of the previous mining that's been done, that they didn't go for this ore type that we've been hitting now. And the feeling is that sort of regeneration is where a lot of this, oxide material is occurring now and what we're hitting today. Can you talk about that for a minute and maybe explain it to people?
Sure. The initial mining at Broadway was focused on oxide mining material only. So focused on gold in oxide. They couldn't process anything else. So they're using a cyanide extraction at the time. Anything that was flashy or sulfidic or black, they just left in the mine. So they had an agenda. They went in, they got it, and they took it out. And if it didn't look like what the bosses told you to go get, well, you just stopped right there. That leaves us a lot of pillars and areas to drill, because in the last 80 years since the termination of mining at Broadway, we all know that processing technologies come, light years ahead. So it looks to me like they left a lot of material there. Then conversely, when it was mined in 2008 to 2012 by Coronado, they were mining copper only. They were going in for the high grade copper and really didn't care that much about the gold. They didn't care that much about the native copper. So they left all that there because it just didn't fit their plan. So all that material is what we're drilling into now and further expanding this resource, which just didn't fit their processing technology at the time.
One of the things that really struck me is when you go underground there, there's, as you get deeper underground, there's water in the mine, but in some of the faces that you can actually walk to, it is very clear that you didn't take everything out. And we're looking forward to having those results out in short order too, from where we did some sampling. But it was you could see the blue color to that copper was clearly high grade copper. So there's certainly a lot left underground as well. The interesting part here is going to be how you tie this 3 kilometers together, because that, from terms of the scar at the surface, is how this can get big. We've compared this before to Fortitude, which I know, Eric, you've been underground at, but that's a 3 million ounce deposit at surface that vectors down to the porphyry. This is now what we're looking at is coming along with a 3 kilometer strike length before you get drilling down deep into this porphyry, which again could make this significantly larger. One of the things that we'll do, we're releasing 3 holes today. We're going to release another 4 holes. We'll shoot another one of these videos once those 4 holes have been completed, got assays and we've compiled them. We're ready to put it out. And what we'll lay out is a couple of things. One, a game plan for a phase 2 drill program, game plan for phase 3, which is real regional exploration. Phase 2 and phase 3 will be regional exploration. We'll also lay out the plan then for how we're going to update the 43-101 we have now, but look to put out a resource at the end of those two phases, and then make a decision on a feasibility study, a feasibility point as well. And we'll lay out timelines for all of that coming up, along with budget, etc. So how do we take this project from where we are today all the way through resource, all the way to feasibility? And we'll put that out in a video that's going to be forthcoming as well. Look, 38.25 meters of 2.34% copper equivalent works pretty well. We're really, really happy with that. Seeing 32 meters of 3 grams gold, including 7 meters of 9.9 grams gold, is excellent as well. And then you add in the, was it 45.5 meters of 0.96 copper. That's a program off to a great start. So incredibly pleased with what we've seen so far. Eric, anything left to add there?
Nope, just looking forward to getting back up there, getting our permits in place and continuing to drill, continuing to expand the project and expand the mineralization. And I think we're on the right path.
Okay, so more holes expected soon. And we look forward to a second video with you shortly. Thank you.